Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Play On. My name is Candace Barrett.
I'm Rob Mackay.
And Peacey is en route somewhere to drop off his daughter to work experience.
Yes, and
so
that wasn't
he is
Peacey.
absent.
So
No Peacey. But I know he was modding this weekend for Orange, for I believe the under 13 state champs. I know there's lots of people in different areas of Australia working hard on their state champs in their particular states. And yeah, Peacey was modding.
Did he bring a note?
Did he bring a note?
Has he got a note from his mum for not being here? So
he called me.
Right, okay. That counts, does it?
That counts.
Fair enough.
But yeah, what were you up to this weekend, Rob?
Well, I was a rugby spectator only, so I watched some super men's and women's, and I watched some sevens, which is very exciting, a little bit of English Prem. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, but I didn't go anywhere near Rugby Field. I had a bit of a cultural weekend. I spent some time at Vivid, a little bit of Sydney Film Festival.
So Vivid, for anyone not in Australia, it's just beautiful lights on like the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Opera House. They have it all around the city. Just a little light spectacle, really. It's
little,
really pretty.
that is an understatement.
Just a little one.
Like it is mad. There was one particular, it's funny that two worlds coincide. I came out of a Sydney Film Festival screening at the Opera House, and there was a Vivid performance on in the forecourt of the Opera House. Probably 10,000 people jammed in, and it was a French, I don't know what you'd call them. It was an orchestra with trapeze artists, and the trapeze artists were on this giant carousel that went up in the air on a crane over the Botanic Gardens and the Heart. Like it was nuts.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Sick.
And all around
it's like Cirque du Soleil.
Yes.
On lights, just tripping out.
With instruments. Like it was crazy. I've got footage of it. That's a chat for another day. But meanwhile, in the background, the harbour bridge is being lit up. The Opera House is being lit up. Above us, the whole city's going off. The harbour is full of light. It's at night. The harbour's full of boats lit up. There are light displays everywhere. It's a big thing, and there's thousands and thousands of tourists floating around the streets. The streets are shut. Yeah, so that was my cultural weekend.
Nice.
Saw some interesting things and threw some rugby in the midst of it. And I wrote another column for 8-9 Rugby's Ask the Ref. So that is up. So 3 more questions that have been fired at us. So hop onto Substack. We'll put a link in the notes and you can see what's going on there as well. So that was my weekend. So
that sounds busy.
Candace,
well,
my goodness, you're busy. Tell us about yours.
Yeah, I was a match official at the under 16 state champs, which was in Granville. So that's sort of further out for me personally in Sydney. So there was across 3 days, I had about 10 matches in the middle, 4 AR appointments, and then about 6 different mods. So different coaches throughout the weekend being able to review me, and I can chat through different things. So yeah, pretty full on, but I think we tried to calculate over the entire weekend. We had over like 123 appointments, which is crazy.
I can't believe you did 10 middles. That's extraordinary.
Yeah. For someone
you must be bugging.
Oh, this is, by the way, my secret for anyone who, like me, maybe has come back from injury or is struggling with certain niggles. My magnesium Epsom salt baths for half an hour after those tournament days was probably the main reason why I was able to still turn up the next day and feel like sort of fresh legs. My feet were probably the worst things out of the entire weekend. But yeah, I think that was a lot of running. My poor Garmin watch kept on telling me the day after the first day of state champs to have a rest day.
Rest. Yes, I bet it did.
And on Saturday, didn't rest. Sunday I didn't rest because obviously I was still running around. Then it told me again, rest day. And I was like, well, not again, because Monday I'd still have to run around. So my poor Garmin watch is just a bit confused on why I'm not paying attention to it. But that's okay. But no, I really thoroughly enjoyed
says
it.
No.
Yeah. But no, I was involved in the girls' plate final. So I was really happy I was able to get that finals appointment. It was really close.
As referee?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Candace. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun. Then at halftime, when I was chatting to my ARs, team of 3, we both realized we're like, have you guys gone under the post for a conversion? But they're like, no. I'm like, it's 0-0. And then you're just having to figure out, we're like, don't look too much into it, but sort of these are our options. Even the girls, 8 minutes until time were to finish, they're like, what happens if it's 0-0, miss, at this time? I'm like, don't worry, girls, you still have 8 minutes. You got to believe in yourself, sort of thing. Like, let's not think about that.
But it's a really good tip, Candace, because as a match official, going into a match like that, you need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you need to know the tournament rules, the competition rules, so that if it is a draw, you're not out there in the middle of the field scratching your head going, what do we do next? You know what you've got to do. You got to get your coin out, or the coach has got to come onto the field for the toss, or there's a 5-minute break, or whatever it might be. Yeah. That's part of preparation. That's really important. So, and it happens in state champs. So
it does. Yeah. This would end up being a 5-0 final.
Yeah.
Score. So, yeah, very close.
Well, one of our state champs, younger son was in it. They had not one but 2 draws in a row. They had a draw in the quarterfinal and they had a draw in the semi-final. And the team that went through in that tournament was the team that scored first. And in both cases, they scored first because they knew that. So they ran a really, really good starter play off an early set piece. And they got the ball to this kid who they thought might be able to score a try, Max Jorgensen. And he scored first in both occasions, if I remember correctly. And that was enough to get the guys through to ultimately the final. So,
well, we had that in the cup finals. So we had a guy, Miles, referee in the middle. I was ARing. And for the Undergirls Cup final, the 2 teams that met for the final actually drew earlier on in the pools.
Yeah, right.
So it was a big decision on actually who would win it. And it actually, which will link by everyone, by the way, to Law of the Week. There was a penalty goal kick to decide the match.
Hold that thought. Yes, we'll come to that. Yep.
So we'll come back to that. But that was another thing. It was all drawn up until that moment. So very good point, Rob. Know your competition rules. And yeah, go into finals. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm impressed that you actually had a bath in your room too, so that you could have magnesium salt baths. I mean, a lot of places we stay, you don't have that. So you can't really have a magnesium salt shower. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Luckily, I was able to come back at home each night. I had to Netflix.
Oh, right. You were
my
commuting.
Netflix, my bath, and I even had a protein shake. It was next level, by the way. Alrighty, enough of that. Some general rugby news. So, super exciting to hear about the Australian women winning the Sevens series. And, of course, finally,
how good.
I think it sort of topped it at the end of the entire series for Australia versus New Zealand. They've met about 8 times in finals out of the entire series. So to finish off like that just seems so cool. And well-deserved win in Bordeaux. And I can see the girls, because I follow some of them on Instagram, all enjoying a beautiful European summer all together, which sounds fabulous.
As are the match officials. They've been hanging out a little bit too. They've had a great time. They took a bus ride from Via de Lis up to Bordeaux, and they've been chilling a little bit since. But yeah, like the Sevens, the women, they were really scratchy early. Their first game was just, I think it was 0-0 at half time from memory. Against
unheard of.
I think it was Spain. And they just looked discombobulated. And I'm thinking, this isn't good. But they did the same the previous tournament. They were a bit scratchy early there as well. In fact, they lost a game last tournament to the USA, who they beat in the final. But they came home with a wet sail. And, Maddie Levi, she's got a grade 2 MCL. So
Jesus.
She didn't play the first.
Didn't look like it.
She didn't play the first 2 days. And then she was player of the final and scored 2 outstanding
Whoever that
tries.
physio is that taped up her knee.
Yeah.
Must be good.
But what really made it in the final was the tries that she saved. She ran down a couple of the Kiwis. For someone with a grade 2 MCL, and she was lightning, and she had to be, that was a seriously impressive effort.
That makes me feel so bad for myself if I was the New Zealand player.
She's
even with the grade 2, she can still beat me. Oh, okay.
There's a bell curve, and she's right down the end of it. Like
Yeah.
there were 3 nominees for Sevens
Wait till
Player of the Year.
if she ever has to get surgery on her knee, she'll be titanium. She'll be next level. That knee will be
Yeah, exactly. She'll be the Terminator
the Terminator.
or the Bionic Woman or something. So
Still on sevens, we have Women's Sevens Player of the Year, which is back-to-back winner Jorja Miller. So congrats to her. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, all the stuff that she's done. She's gone from winning Olympic gold. She goes from going from 15s to sevens, back to sevens. But yeah, pretty exciting for this particular player for the future. And
don't forget her Highland dancing. Her background's in Highland dancing. So
is it?
yeah, she's
Quick feet.
Yeah, she's quick feet, absolutely.
Yeah, stepping everyone.
And tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to jump on those swords. So yes, she was Women's Player of the Year in sevens. Tristan Lades was the Men's Player of the Year from South Africa. So yes, they had awards, didn't they, Candace, afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
So Ane Conye was the Women's Rookie. Kele Lasaka was the Men's Rookie from New Zealand. Top try scorer on the Women's was, guess who? Maddie Levi. 60-something, and considering she missed the best part of this tournament, she probably would have broken her own record.
Yeah.
And the men's was Marcus Moneta, which is no surprise to anyone. And then there was the dream teams. So 2 dream teams, men's and women's. So the women's dream team was Jorja Miller, Risipori Lane, Maddie Levi, Isabella Nasser. So shout out to Bella. She's been immense as a leader and as a player. Ariana Ramsey, Alicia Christians, and Ripi Ulunisau from Fiji in the women. And then the men, Tristan Lades, Shilton Van Vyk, Jeremy Trevethick, Henry Hutchison. Well done, Hutch. He broke some records recently for Australia, and it's great to see him in there. Fuivia Nadovalo, Terrio Velawa, and Luciano Gonzalez from Argentina. So that's the men's dream team. So yeah, that's sevens. And we now have the 2 tiers of sevens as well, sevens ones and sevens twos. So there's been a little bit of movement there. Some teams have dropped out of ones into twos and vice versa. Australia's in both, which is good to see. So very happy about that. So yeah, bravo. And a great weekend of sevens. Great way to finish the year. Women win Bordeaux and the World Championship. The Kiwis had won the earlier series. So they're the 2 best teams in the women's by country mile. And they're great to watch. Yeah. So yeah, very exciting. So what else is happening in rugby news, Candace?
Well, I wanted to highlight a particular player, Amy Cocaine. So she is an English player so we have the UK Prem for the men's side, and then there's also the women's Prem that's going on as well. She kicked a 50-22. this hooker off a line out. It was the best thing ever. And she was just so ecstatic as well, but then realized she had to, I need to get ready for the line out now. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So that deserves some rugby news, because we're seeing more front rowers doing breakaway tries. We're seeing people kick, doing other things that maybe not typically their position does. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So from a match official point of view, don't think that if there's a player in the back that they can't do a nice little kick.
Well, look, everyone talks about forwards as being special people. And we know they are, but they've got absolutely extra skills that are underappreciated. So we need to be aware of that, and celebrating her is a great way to do it. And she is in the team of the year for me for great names. There's a few of them, and that's probably also a chat for another day. But I mean, a commentator's dream or curse, depending on how you want to look at it. So, yes, well done her. So,
well done. So next on to some match official sort of rugby news. I saw there was a law clarification on the focus on the scrum-halves and the actions at or when ending a ruck. And this was brought up from New Zealand, actually. They queried it. And our lovely Keith Lewis is able to go into more detail for us. So the World Rugby have issued a formal law clarification after New Zealand Rugby queried whether the scrum half or halfback is allowed to move in front of the offside line and then use their hands to reposition the ball while it is still in the ruck. The request pointed out the laws which say it shouldn't be permitted, but it was now common practice in the elite game, which I can totally see why that can be a bit confusing. So yeah, good on you, New Zealand, for asking for that. So they seek to establish the essential balance between continuity of play and continuity of the possession. In context, the requests the rucks define suggests a contest for possession is over, the ball's secured, and then the halfback or player that fulfills that role is then playing the ball away to ensure the continuity. The law highlighted focus is on the contest for possession.
Yeah, look, it's about balance, isn't it? It's about balance
Yeah.
between the law and the flow and what's written in the law and what's written in essentially the supporting documents around the law book. So it's about letting the game flow. And it's just common sense, really. I think New Zealand put their hand up because there'd been some chat about it. So this was just to quieten the just shattering classes. But of course, here at Play On Pod and over at 89 Rugby Substack, we're ahead of the game because in my first Ask the Ref column, this very question was asked and we answered that. And since then, New Zealand Rugby
Rob.
have asked for the clarification, which
it
is not
should have just come to you, Rob.
what might have been written by me a couple of months earlier. So there is alignment, which is nice. But yes, it's an application of common sense. That's probably the best way to describe the clarification. There's been a couple of clarifications this year and one application guideline, and they're all about just making the laws clearer for people to understand. So keep an eye on those. You can get them in the app as well, the World Rugby app, and they come out on the press from time to time. So we've had the one about the ruck. There was one earlier in the year that was about...
Is it the mall?
No, that was the application guideline. That was about the maul. Which applies from 1st of June. And then the first clarification of the year was about just how you enter breakdown. So, and the sanctions for that. So we didn't really talk about that at the time. That was in March. But yeah, it's just a good heads up for people just to be aware of those because they need to be read in conjunction with the laws as well. So you just need to be mindful of those.
I think this one's quite good because it even after the ruck is like one per se, then it's just quite good that's saying that if the contest for the ball is over, so it's clearly been won, then the 9 can go digging for the ball or it'll just roll back naturally by people's hands. It's just creating that flow really. And I think I know we had something about someone not playing the 9, and I think that's where you need to manage it. Where okay, it's clearly been won now, so someone need stop trying to intervene really, because they're trying to slow down the ball, which doesn't help either. So,
well, I think the really important part of that is, manage it, but also the contest has to be over. So contest is over, so there's no point in doing anything other than letting it come out. But
then you don't want the 9's actions to prevent the contest as well. So it's just the timing of each thing as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So common sense, which isn't always common, as we know. So I'm going to go on to a match official news item, which isn't rugby. It's soccer.
Go for it.
And I'm loath to talk about soccer, but I've had a bit of exposure to soccer recently, which is another whole story. But in this particular case, there's something happening in the US soon. I think they call it a World Cup. Anyway, the US, in their eternal wisdom, have kicked out one of the referees who is heading to the World Cup. He's a Somalian referee. He was voted the best African referee in 2025. He's traveling on a diplomatic passport, and the US have said, no, you're not coming in. So, it's just...
That's awful.
It's just poor. And I really feel for this guy because
is there
it's
a
the peak
FIFA,
of,
is there a FIFA match official board for match officials that can help this person?
He's gone back home.
Oh.
And all joking aside, for him, This is the pinnacle of the game. He's been selected to referee at a World Cup. It's the biggest thing in soccer.
It's
And
literally what you've probably been training and going week in, week out, going to all these matches for, is to this lead up to this tournament.
yeah, so
And
my heart goes out to him. So hang in there, mate. He's accepted it with
is it like a
incredible
list of what
dignity.
US have a list of countries that they don't like, basically? Is it one of those
Yeah, the whole
reasons?
world
Oh, okay. Yeah.
at the moment. Like it's just, yeah, it's a disgrace. Yeah, my heart goes out to him. So hopefully later on in his career he gets another chance to do something of that ilk, because he's obviously put the work in. He's obviously very good. To be the best African referee in soccer is a pretty big thing, because there's a lot of countries that play soccer in Africa.
I'm about to say,
So
yeah. Out of your entire country as well. That's a lot of people. And a lot of match
yeah,
officials. So
yeah,
well
that's
done.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to talk about some Super Rugby?
There wasn't much to discuss, really. Talking about Super, Brumbies forgot to turn up. That was disappointing. The Reds Chiefs game was a cracking game. The Crusaders hitting form at the right time of the season. That's never happened before. So beware the Crusaders. They played in front of a packed house and won well against the Blues, who are limping in to fourth spot. So we've got some big matches this weekend. Be really interesting to see how that plays out. But there wasn't really anything to talk about, was there?
There are some trends and talking points from my state champs in particular.
Yes.
So we found in under 16s after the first day, what I think is also quite interesting, that all the mods that watched all the games, they all sit together, a little round table. This is me just observing, by the way. And they talk about some of the trends that have come through. So we found on our first day that the tackle height was slipping up. So obviously we have a sternum law for us. And we found in particular people, especially the girls, they just go straight for the ball. And so when they're going in straight for the ball, that makes their head so close to the other person's head. So the tackler and the ball carrier's head are very close when they just go straight for that. And they're not aiming below the ball, which is then that's ideal. Try to aim below the ball. So that was the first one. So tackle height was slipping up.
So they're very vertical or very upright. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So yeah, very vertical, very upright, always just trying to go, shoulder to shoulder in particular. And then the next one was scrum timing, which I found was a real good work on. I think something for people that can take out of this as well is just the timing of the calls, being able to say crouch, have all your set points, allow them to settle, but also seeing that bigger picture as well. Sometimes they're always just focused on the front row. Sometimes it's good to just take a step back and see how the second row and flank and how everyone's moving. Bind, allow everyone to shuffle around, because for me, when I was a second rower, everyone's leaning on me, you're moving back, you're getting set, the eight's probably lifting your butt at some point, and seeing that, and then making sure the eights don't sort of whip in, just make sure their heads are in as well.
Yeah.
And then set. And then usually when you have those nice pauses, you'll just get a better outcome. What was happening was getting on our first day, it was just getting a bit messy. So those are the two things that I found were quite good reflections from the mods telling us, and then being able to build on that. So you have 3 days at state champs. You have the first day, which are just sort of everyone's really excited, but also maybe the skill level might not be there. And then you end up seeing each day everyone gets better and better. And that's also the referees to match that as well, which is always the fun challenge. So day 2, taking on those feedback, and then realizing at the end of day 2, the main thing is that we're going into day 3, which is finals. So when we have to be switched on, because the players are switched on because they want to ultimately get into a finals, we need to be there to make those decisions. So yeah, those were some of my trends and talking points.
And you sat on both sides of the table too, didn't you? Because you were both a mod and a match official, right?
Not for this weekend. I am trained as a match official developer, but I wasn't modding this weekend. I was.
Oh, okay.
I originally was selected to, but then that was for a different state champs in a different area.
Okay,
but then I couldn't go to that one. It was too far away from me. Unfortunately, my work wouldn't let me take time off to travel, which is lovely. Anyway, but those are my trends and talking points, which might lead me into law of the week. So, penalty kick, no charging. It happened a few times at different people's matches. It happened at one person's match where...
So was it a shot at goal or a kick for touch?
No, it was a penalty kick, like for goal.
Right, okay, yep.
Yeah. So for this one, it ended up being successful from memory, so he didn't have to really intervene too much. When it happened to me, I was an assistant referee, so me and the other person was underneath the goalposts. You could tell this was a decider, by the way, on who won the Undergirls Cup final. So these girls who were in front of the goalposts were doing everything they could to just... I'm like, no, you must have your hands on your hips. I'm feeding information. One girl, no joke, Rob, was throwing a gum shield up in the air and flailing her arms up in the air to try to catch it. So, like, I had to name every like color and number to tell them different things that they were doing wrong to manage it all within like the space of the minute while the player was about to kick. You know what I mean?
Did you have comms?
No.
And was the referee aware?
I was a bit further back, so he was trying to manage a few of the players in the front because they were all doing something. So I was trying to manage the players that were near the goalpost, and he was managing the front ones while it was all happening. So just for everyone, it comes under Law 20, penalty kicks and free kicks, I believe, 20.15. So the opposing team may not do anything to delay the kick or obstruct the kicker, including intentionally taking, throwing, or kicking the ball out of reach of the team awarded the penalty. There's a sanction there, so second penalty or free kick, 10 meters in front of the original mark. The second penalty or free kick must not be taken before the referee has made the mark. So they have a beautiful little image of what not to do, which is basically what this person were doing. And eventually I told them they had to put their hands on their hips, which is also comes to my link to the law of the week, my ideal law variation. So I found that the law says you can go 10 meters in front of the original mark. I'm proposing you can move the mark 10 meters inwards towards the goalposts, which would allow the team have better kicking range, basically, depending on where the mark was. So they can choose either to go 10 meters forwards or 10 meters inwards.
I really like that idea, Candace. That's great. That's super smart. So, yeah, take the option. Yeah.
Because in this guy's scenario, so for example, one of the guys who had the charge down on a penalty goal kick, he was so close to the post already. He was just 15 meters out, which is why I thought, oh, wouldn't it be great if you're able to bring it 10 meters inwards? And so you're directly in front of the posts. And then the players realize, oh, I've actually made the angle better for them because I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't following what the referee's management and everything was. But also, you have to think about the age group. It's under 16s. They probably don't really know too much. Penalty goal kicks probably don't happen that often in their day-to-day games.
No, but it's a heads up for the match official as well, right? This is an opportunity to manage, and you were doing that as the AR, so well done. But the person on the whistle, if you're not sure about the player's law knowledge, you just say, you got 60 seconds, say once the mark is set, right, back 10, stand still, be quiet, hands down. Really clear. And I don't normally say no charging. But it's obviously been a thing, so
I would say just hands on hips, don't talk. Yeah, even some girls were like putting their hands like with their hands near their ears as well. I'm just like, no, you must have your hands on your hips. So
yeah, I mean the girls throwing the mouth guard up.
The goal was successful.
They knew what they were doing.
Happy days. They knew exactly what they were doing. It's hard to do one person trying to manage all the players around you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's my law variation request to bring it inwards.
Okay, I like that. Appointments. So there's a bit happening. There's finals all over the world, but in our part of the world, we've got the semi-finals for Super Rugby Pacific, and they are out. So we're recording a bit later this week. So Chiefs play Crusaders, and that is an absolutely humdinger of a game. That's in Hamilton. Chiefs are hosting that. And the referee on that is Gus Gardner and his pod with George Myers, Matty Callahan. Friend of the pod, Graham Cooper, is the TMO. So
Great. What
well
a
done,
beautiful little
team.
pod.
What a great pod. So, yep, that's due reward. So congratulations there. Then the other game is 1v4, as it turns out, Hurricanes and Blues. Hurricanes flying, Blues limping. That's in Wellington, and that is Ben O'Keefe, Todd Petrie, Mr. Lamette, and Richard Kelly as the TMO. So that then sets us up for what will happen with the final. And there's a couple of ways they can go with the final. It's either a shootout between these two pods, or they've already selected a pod from previous weeks and that they'll go through and do the final. Now, we don't know what their mindset is around that. So it could be one of these two, it could be someone else. So we'll just have to wait to see what happens next week. But there's certainly people in the mix, which is very exciting. So congratulations to everyone involved there. Semi-finals of Super, they're big. So
It is big.
These will be matches that will test all the match officials. So well done to everyone there. That's a very exciting. Then flipping over to Super Rugby Women's, we've got a couple of matches there as well. And the first one is the Drua against the Force in Churchill Park in Lautoka.
Sick.
So Amber McLaughlin gets to pack a passport. She did the TARS Drua match last week. She's got Ziggy Day and Charlotte Bruni on the flags. That's very exciting for that team of three. So well done. Then in Canberra at Tuggeranong Vikings, Brums take on the Waratahs. Ella's in the middle for that, and she's got Riley Byrne and Ethan Gumbrell as her AR. So that's very exciting. So well done, team there. Then at the top of the game, Test Rugby, we have had all the appointments announced for men's and women's tests. So we've got the Nations Cup and the Nations Championships, the men's and some women's internationals. So women's internationals, you got Barbars against Wales. So Nikki O'Donnell's got that.
So fun.
South Africa and USA, Zoe Nord's got that. That's in Joburg. South Africa, USA again. Amy Barrett-Turon's got that. Junior Springbok Women, USA Women's under 20s. Precious Bazzani has got that. We mentioned her last week.
She was our golden whistle the other week.
She was. And that match is repeated a week later, late in July, and it's Gianna Wilhoen, who's South African. So they're sort of the next lot of internationals coming up in the women's game. In the men's game, they've announced the Nations Championship referees, and there's a whole bunch of people here. So there's too many to go into detail, but we'll do them week by week as they come out. The first one of those is on the 4th of July, and that weekend features, there's 5 games. So Ben O'Keefe, Luke Pearce, James Dolman, Nick Amisher-Kelly, and Nick Perry, along with Owen Cross, they've all got games that weekend. And then we somewhere have Nations Cup also starting that weekend. Gianluca Necchi, Ben Breakspear, Thomas Batazza, Angus Maybe, Damien Schneider, and Craig Evans. So there's a heap of appointments coming. So we'll get into the detail of those as they come closer. But those appointments are out. So congratulations to everyone there.
Congrats.
What's going on there?
Love it.
Before we go, Golden Whistle. Are you ready for the Golden Whistle?
I am.
So it's the King's birthday weekend in most parts of Australia this last weekend, and traditionally that's when we announce the honours list. And whilst it's the King's birthday, they're Australian awards, and there are a few notable rugby personalities in there, but the one that we're going to take heed of is Gus, but not Gus as we know it, the first Gus Erickson. So he's got himself a gong for services to rugby, education, and a few other things. So well done, Gus. And for those who don't know him, Gus stood in a couple of World Cups. He's still a World Rugby selector. You will see him around the grounds watching referees. He tends to fly under cover of darkness, but he's out there. He's watching.
The invisible cloak.
The invisible cloak. So a long-time stalwart of the game, member of our association for many, many years, absolutely involved in so many people's refereeing careers. So, and principal of St Andrews College at the University of Sydney for many, many years. So, amongst other things. So really, really pleased to see him get that gig or get the gong. Well deserved. So on you, Gus.
Yay, well done. I like that one. Golden
I like
Whistle
that one
of the
too.
Week. Well done. Alrighty, guys. Well, we have nothing else to report. It was more about sort of state champs, mix of sevens, and some law clarification stuff. However, you can find us on YouTube if you want to see me and Rob's beautiful faces. And yeah, you can come back next week. Hopefully we'll have all three of us back together and reporting on what will be some really great Super Rugby for the men's and women's this weekend. So yeah, stay tuned and thank you for listening.
Jouer.